everyone, welcome to Built with VAs. I'm your host Valentina Brega, and if you watch the show, you know that here we talk about how to grow your company, how to scale your company, how to find elite team members, how to keep them engaged, motivated, and all of this good information. I have a company, hiretrainva.com, and I'm on a journey right now to grow it and I want to scale it. So I'm sharing everything that is working for me, hoping that you can get some golden nuggets and implement in your company. And also I have wonderful guests here that we can all learn from and that can inspire us all. So whether you're new here or if you've been following me for a while, welcome and let's get it started. Episode, I want to talk about one tool that has proven to work so well for me. This is how I conduct the one-on-one meetings with my team. The best managers understand the importance of building a team, but it's equally important to know how to keep your team engaged and how to keep them loyal. And I learned so much about my team members from our one-on-one meetings. I got to know them personally. I found out more about their professional life, professional goals, and how I can be a part of that and how I can help them get there. It's also brought us so much closer as a team, and ultimately, I feel like they're very loyal and dedicated because of this wonderful connection that we have. So even if you know the benefits of one-on-one meetings, it can be hard to come up with some questions or topics to discuss during those meetings. Do you feel yourself in the same situation? Because if so, I got you, and I hope that today's episode is going to be very helpful for this precise reason. I want to share with you the thought-provoking questions and powerful questions that I ask in my meetings that has uncovered so much potential in my team members. So all of these questions, or the majority of these questions actually come from this book called Everyone Deserves a Great Manager. Throughout my experience, I added more questions to the list, and actually you can get a copy of the list in the description. You can download it, but I have to give credit where the majority of the questions come from. They come from here. This is a great read for everyone who's a manager, who's a leader. It has great strategies, great tactics. It's just easy to read, and I often refer to this book when I have a question about how to work with my team. So the questions are divided into segments: personal questions, questions about the team, the manager, meaning me, or if you have someone else, how to determine if there's a problem in the company, how they feel about that, how to support career development, questions regarding a change in the company, and a lot more. And before you start the meeting, this is something that I learned. Before you start the meeting, let your team know that it's okay to open up, and you wouldn't hold it against them. So they would feel very comfortable opening up and telling you how they really feel about this without fearing that they will lose their job or they will think that you will think negatively of them. Because what you're looking for is you're looking for a genuine connection, and your goal is to make sure that everyone is happy in their role and that they work in their best capacity to provide the most value for your company. So some of these questions can be pretty tough, and that's why I'll let you know exactly towards the end of how I use that and how I prep my team and when I present them some questions and in what order, so that we can have a more fruitful conversations. But let me tell you exactly what I mean by tough questions. Here is something that I'm asking. So here we go. Some personal questions are: how are you feeling about your role? In what ways do you feel like you're growing or not growing in your role? And what makes you say that? I want them to know what makes them grow and what is stopping them from achieving their maximum potential. Another question is: what is your favorite or least favorite thing about your work right now, and how does it affect your performance? I usually break this down into questions. So tell me about your favorite thing about your work right now. Okay, what about your least favorite thing? What don't you like? What is draining your energy? Okay, how does that affect your performance? And then I ask a lot of questions based on the answers they've given me. So for example, hey, if you're most productive in something that brings you joy, what can we do about some of the things that don't bring you joy? Do you think someone else in the company would be better equipped to take care of those? There's a lot of things that we can uncover from this question. And another question from this segment, from personal questions, is: what's one thing that could make your work more satisfying and why? So these are the personal questions, and I like to start with personal questions because that means that I already maybe know them, or I know about their family, I know about their hobbies, but now I want to know about how this work is affecting them personally. Then I'm going to transition to asking questions about the team. Some of the questions can be: hey, what sort of person would work well here? And what sort of person would add something that we currently missing? I like the second question so much. Like, think about this as a company. What sort of person do you think would add something that we're currently missing? What is missing? How can we find that person? How do you see a good fit of that person? And you can ask these questions anyone, even if you're having some A players or maybe someone who is maybe underperforming. When you ask that question about the team, what sort of person would work well here, they would tell you some answers of obviously an ideal person in the company, and then how they would compare basically themselves, they would benchmark themselves against the person they just described. So they would understand that they need to step up their game to perform very well for you. So really good questions. And especially this part, what are we currently missing? Where do you think we can find that person? So much more you can uncover from these questions. And then I want to get some feedback about me, about their manager, or if there's a department, I want to know how they feel about their manager. So maybe they will open up to me more. Some of the questions I ask about manager are, what am I doing or not doing to help you succeed? Or is the same for the manager in that department? Hey, what does your manager do or not do to help you succeed? In what ways can I clear the path for you to make your job more interesting or less complicated? What can I do for you? Can I automate something? Do you need some help? Do we need to hire someone, an assistant for you? How can I clear the path for you to make your job more interesting and less complicated? And then we go to questions about how to coach a team member to solve a problem. So I can just name all the questions again from the book. There is a link below, there's a file below that you can download and you can get, there's a ton of questions, good questions there. But these are some of the most common ones I use, and just to give you an idea of the caliber of the questions you can ask. So if you want to coach a team to solve a problem, these are the questions I would ask. What's your number one problem right now? Okay, what have you tried so far? And what ideas can you bring in from the past success? I would also ask, if they tell me what have you tried so far, I will also ask, what haven't you tried yet? And the reason I'm asking these questions is because I don't want people that will need a lot of hand-holding. I don't want to solve their problem. I want to make them think for themselves. I want people who take ownership. So tell me, what is your number one problem right now? And what have you tried so far? If they haven't tried anything yet, then this is a good time to remind them about our core values. Hey, look, one of our core values is ownership. We own the position we're in. We are responsible for that. And we have to find ways. We are resourceful. Also, that will tell you whether this person really is a good fit for the role or not, because you want the person to take ownership. So what have you tried so far? They will tell you all the possible ways that they've tried to make it work. And then the next question is, what haven't you tried yet? And maybe they haven't thought about this. Maybe they will think, oh, that I pretty much did everything I could. But when you say, okay, what else could you have tried? What haven't you tried yet? Their mind will start thinking about maybe other possibilities that they didn't think of. So a lot of times they will come up with great ideas on the spot just because you asked that one question. And if they still don't have the answer to that question, then I will ask, okay, think about your past success. We've done this before. We've had success during solving this issue before. What have you done before that's worked that you can do now? What ideas can you bring in from past success? So a lot of the times this will uncover a lot of good discussion and a lot of good ideas. All right, now questions about how to support career development. I care about that the person working in my company, I know they're not going to be with me forever. I know everybody has personal goals, has professional goals. And if possible, I would love to help them get that fulfillment and live a happy life. So I want to make sure I support their career development. And these are the questions I'm asking. What are the 2 to 3 skills you'd like to learn on this job? What about those skills interest you? Why do you want to learn about them? That's very important. What 2 or 3 skills would you like to learn on this job? So for example, I have somebody who tells me, well, I want to learn more about social media. Okay, why do you want to do that? Because, and they tell me maybe more information, which is great. Another question I ask is, what other roles could you see yourself playing down the line? Or what areas would you like to explore? I actually use this question. I have somebody on my team right now, and I ask this question like, hey, you're doing great at what you're doing, but what other roles could you see yourself playing, down the line? And he told me about, I would really, really like to do this. And I was like, what makes you say that? How would you bring value? And he just listed everything. It looked like he was prepared in advance, and he knew exactly what kind of value he'd bring. So, hey, I'm gonna do this, I can do this, I can do that, I can manage the team, I can do this. So all of these wonderful things step by step, I can really see his passion, and he's doing great in this new position. He's absolutely killing it in the new position. So make sure just ask that question and think about this. Okay, our desires align. You want to do something that would move the needle for my company in the right direction. Why not combine these two? Sure, you go ahead, you're happy doing what you do best, and that also impacts positively the company we're working for, right? So it's a great match. So again, the question is, what other roles could you see yourself playing down the line? Or what areas would you like to explore? Okay, now a lot of the times there are changes in the company. So let's talk about questions to check in regarding a change, especially the past few years with COVID and a lot of things. People started working remotely and, it's just a lot of changes that happened recently. And you know how it is being a business owner. Things always change, right? The cheese is moving. If you read the book, Who Moved My Cheese, you know what I'm referencing to. But things are pivoting. So this is the question I'm asking. What's going well and not so well with the new situation? Why do you think this might be happening? How is this new situation affecting your work? What do you think could be getting in your way of being effective? I want to know how much time they need to adjust to the new change. How long will the change cause a disruption in their day-to-day operations? And by the way, the book that I mentioned earlier, Everyone Deserves a Great Manager, has such a good graph and such a good explanation of what's happening inside the company when you introduce a change. How you see the chaos, how you see how some people will drop out and how you ultimately become stronger because of the change. But the situations that happen inside the company when a change is being introduced is spot on. It's so good. So if you are introducing a new change in your company, you want to make sure your team feels comfortable and you want to support them during this tough time, especially if they're really, really good people that you want to keep around. You have to work with them. So these are the type of questions that we would ask in a one-on-one setting. So let me share also with you how I do this in my company. Some of these questions require a deep answer, so I want to give my team the time to think about it. I have a Google form that I send out to the team the day before we meet. And at the meeting, we then discuss the answers in more details. So for example, some of the questions on the form are, what areas make you feel like you're stuck or unable to reach your full potential? If I ask them on the spot, they might be giving me something superficial or because they don't have the time to think about this. But if they see the question in front of them and they have the time to really reflect on that, they will put the answer in a Google form. And then when we meet the following day, we discuss this in more details. So I feel like that's bringing a lot more quality conversations to the table. So because this is a pretty tough question, right? What areas do you feel like you're stuck or unable to reach your full potential? I don't want them to feel uncomfortable sharing that information with me. So again, let your team know, hey, it's okay. I'm not going to count it against you. I want to know where you're at. I want to know how I can help you. I want to know how you can be happier working with me and in this company. Another tough question or another question that I have on the form, give them time to prepare, is what do you think you could be doing differently in the company? Or if you could work on anything for the next month, what would it be? And why? What kind of value do you think you would bring? Or something like, what's one thing that would make your work more satisfying and why? So again, just get a copy of all the questions. These are questions that I've personally used with my team throughout years and years of experience. A lot of them come from different books. I don't own the copyright for all of them, just some of them. But I just want to make sure I give the credit where credit's due. There are a lot of good books, a lot of good information out there. And I've combined and compiled a very powerful list that you can get it for free if you follow the link in the description. So there you have it, a great tool to build a strong team where your people feel heard, understood, and cared for. All right, well, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.